from the past until now, and do you see any solution to it in your lifetime, at least?
Once there was Palestine, where the people were mostly Arabs, but also Jews. They were there. And there was no war, there was no fighting, there was confrontation. Of course, the Jews and the Arabs never got on well, but there was no violence. And which country did they choose? They chose Palestine, without asking for the holding a plebiscite, determining what is the opinion of the Palestinians there. The Europeans created Israel out of Palestine. I once asked an American, what would happen if we take Texas, for example, and give it to the Israel? He didn't answer. He didn't answer.
He refused to.
I don't think he likes the idea. You see, you can't take another country and give it to another country. It's wrong.
Yeah.
But that is what the Europeans and the Americans did. And so that was the beginning of things. The Jews went there, they migrated there, and they expelled the Arabs there. These people became refugees from the early days when Israel was created. The Arab Palestinians became refugees. They had to migrate to other places where they were refugees, having to depend on support and aid and the like. But not only that, they tried to get back their land, of course, but they failed because the Europeans helped the Jews. And the Jews, after defeating the Arabs, the Jews began to build settlement on Arab soil. This has never been done by anybody. No country has ever built settlements in another country. But the Jews have done that. What do the Europeans do? Nothing. They allowed the Jews to basically go against international law. And then, of course, the Jews began to oppress the Palestinians. They used to kill Palestinians. Thousands were killed. They used to arrest Palestinians and detain them for indefinite period. Thousands of Palestinians are detained. And the families of the Palestinians couldn't get access to the people who were detained. And the settlements were very belligerent. They keep on building more and more settlement. Now, how for the Palestinians to get back the people who were detained, what could they do?
Yeah.
They couldn't fight. They couldn't fight against Israel. Israel was supported by America. They couldn't fight. I think Hamas must have thought that if they could get Jewish hostages, they could change the hostage for the Palestinians who were detained. And I think that was why they raided Israel. They captured a number of Jews and used them as hostages, and they wanted to change the hostage for the Palestinians who have been detained. They never expected the Jews to commit genocide. The Jews, they know the Palestinians would not kill the hostages because they need the hostages to change.
Yes.
So they committed genocide, killing thousands. By the time they had a short ceasefire, they had killed already 60,000 Palestinians. 60,000, and wounded more than 100,000 Palestinians. So when that happens, in a civilized society would intervene, would stop it, because this is a crime, an international crime. Genocide is a crime. The international society should stop. How could they stop? They should send a peacekeeping force, for example, but they couldn't. They would like to send a peacekeeping force, but America cast a veto and refused to allow any help to be given to the Palestinians, not even food, not even water. So what is the Palestinian going to do? They can, of course, vacate and leave Gaza to the Jews, but this is their land. They don't want to leave their land. They don't want their land to be conquered. So they stayed there and they are being killed every day. Now every day they kill 100 Palestinians. Not only men and women, but children, babies are killed. So this is genocide on a terrible scale. The world should put a stop to that. But the world cannot put a stop because behind this is America.
Yes.
And if you try, America will apply sanction, will do everything to destroy your country.
Yeah.
So the world had to abide by the decision made by America. And now Trump, for example, said that he can stop there can be a ceasefire. I think the terms he offered the Hamas is certainly not acceptable because I'm quite sure what he's telling Hamas is you leave Gaza to the Jews, you get out of Gaza. How can Hamas agree to that?
Yes.
And they said, Hamas is recalcitrant, not willing to have peace. But this is not peace. This is conquest.
Yeah.
And Hamas cannot do that. So at this moment, the war is actually America versus Hamas. Because behind the Jews are the Americans. They are supplying the weapons. They are supplying the money. They are protecting Israel in the United Nations with their veto power. I think this is the greatest injustice ever seen in modern times. And it is significant in that it marks the collapse of human civilization. Because we were talking in the past about human rights, about the sanctity of life, about freedom and all that. There is no freedom for the people in Gaza. The Americans have gone against all the things that the world believes in. America is committing international crime.